All right, Mike Watkins, Hurricane Analytics and HurricaneTrack.com. By the way, you can hear the rain that we're getting here now, and I'm going to show that on the radar here in a second. But I wanted doing a quick update on what is now Tropical Storm Eta. This is the Hurricane Center's forecast track as of 4 p.m. this evening, this afternoon. By this time tomorrow, the Hurricane Center is expecting the storm to be somewhere between Cuba and the Florida Straits here, and then by the end of the day tomorrow, it will make progress and come toward the South Florida and the Florida Keys. Now, the problem, and I think if you watch this update, or if you watched the update I did yesterday, have some concerns here that this is a very, very complicated weather situation in terms of steering. So this is the satellite image currently of Eta. It is getting rounder. For reference, let's see. For reference, the storm is down here. That's Eta. There's another spin up here, and I'll show you that in a second. But that's going to be important for what's going to happen downstream tomorrow and how the storm gets here. But what's happened today is Air Force Hurricane Hunter aircraft have gone into the storm. They found it a little bit better organized. They finally closed off the center. And now, as you can see here in the satellite imagery, it's getting a rounder shape. Now, it's being sheared, and you can see, upper level winds are kind of blowing this way across the top of everything. And generally speaking, when you see that, that means not a lot of strengthening is expected. However, this season has been weird in the sense that we've had a couple situations where we've had storms, including New Orleans and North Carolina earlier in the year, that have come up out of the deep tropics, and as they're making landfall or as they're reaching peak intensity, they've intensified quicker than forecast. This is not expected here, but if you go back to if I go to the Hurricane Center's watch warning graphic that I showed you earlier, we're in a hurricane watch down here in South Florida, and the reason being there is some uncertainty in whether or not this storm will continue to strengthen as it makes the turn. Now, what turn are we looking for here? This is a mid-level water vapor loop showing Eta again for reference down here, right? So, but also you see another spin in the atmosphere up here. This is an upper-level low-pressure system. Generally speaking, when these two types of features interact, it's not necessarily a good thing. So for the storm, it tends to create shear. But if you look in here, for the most part, at least in the mid/upper levels, the storms are, at least inside the inner core there, aren't getting spread out as much. And so that's one of the reasons why, especially given that it's already at 60 miles per hour, just got some lightning, and thunder, because the storms are kind of going straight up here and we're getting some consolidation in the heat, it is possible that it could strengthen another 15 miles per hour, and then we're dealing with a Category 1 hurricane. But in all honesty, what's the difference between a strong tropical storm and a Category 1 hurricane? Not much, but we got to watch for even a little bit more strengthening. So what's going to happen? And obviously, the Air Force reconnaissance aircraft are in there, and they're continuing to monitor the storm. So this low is going to spin this way, right, and head south. That will pinwheel Eta around, and the question then becomes, how close does the center get to the South Florida coast? It looks like most of the model guidance is showing that we'll see an impact around here sometime late tomorrow night. But because you can see how expansive this storm is, right? Like we've got, we're down here in the Jamaica. This is the Florida Panhandle. I'm just drawing everywhere. But this storm system is complicated and spread out. So what's happening, and we're getting flooding rains here right now. And so this is a radar scope, and I bought the PC version of it because I use it on my iPad, but in this case here, I want to be able to show it. But so this is where I live, Hurricane Analytics headquarters up here in Oakland Park. Jim's house, for reference, is down here in Isla Mirada, much closer to, that's my brother-in-law, much closer to where the storm is. And then when you look at the radar, this composite between Key West and Miami here, tons of rain everywhere. So these bands are going to continue, and we've already received several inches of rain. But then as you kind of look further south, we can't see the storm yet. But from Jim's house here, as we go down to, we're still in Miami. I'm not going to switch to Key West. But anyway, the rain continues, right? And that's why we're under a flood watch. So we've got all of this setting up, but then as the storm gets closer, starting tomorrow, we're going to continue to get heavier and heavier rain as this continues to move in, right? So because expecting a hurricane, because the angle of approach is coming from the southeast, which is very unusual, by the way, for November, we've got a storm surge watch right now, and we could have 2 to 3 feet of surge all the way up to Georgia, 2 to 4 feet down here in the Florida Keys. That's a concern. Flooding is also a big concern because of what I just showed you, plus the storm coming. There's expecting now the Weather Prediction Center showing 10 to 15 inch potential down here in southeast Florida, kind of where we are, part of what it's already happened, plus on top of that, all the stuff that's coming tomorrow, and 5 to 10 surrounding that all over South Florida, then that numbers go up. So the point is, this is a multi-pronged problem, right? One, we've got the flooding, we've got some concern for wind and surge, but because we don't know, again, we don't understand very well the interactions between a tropical system down here and another kind of baroclinic or non-tropical system that's affecting it late in November. I mean, this just doesn't happen that often, right? So with that uncertainty, what I would say for anyone in South Florida, and certainly anyone that I know, is continue to prepare as if we're going to deal with potentially a Category 1 hurricane. To my knowledge, there are no evacuation orders in place, but that may change. If you're asked to evacuate, please do. But the other part is we just don't know. This could get a little stronger, and so certainly, in cases where we just had a situation up in Louisiana last week or the week before, where the storm intensified and became a Category 2 hurricane right up before landfall. I'm not saying this is a possibility here, but the water in the Florida Straits here is warm for this time. It's warm, and the storm's going to be traversing that as it kind of makes the turn this way. Now, the NOAA aircraft have been out there sampling the environment today. I forgot to mention that, but and that's giving the data, the models a little bit more data that they didn't have before. So there is one slight change in that the models are kind of taking it maybe a little bit further south in the Florida Straits than they were because of the new data that's come in. But because there's a high degree of uncertainty on whether or not this might have been one of the older tracks. Doesn't matter, though. The impacts are still going to be felt pretty much throughout peninsular Florida throughout the day today, tomorrow, and this could linger. I mean, we're in flood watch till Tuesday, but the forecast track is for Eta to come up here and kind of sit and then dissipate over time, but there'll still be a strong moisture feed in between here and there. So I'll do another update probably tomorrow night unless something significant happens here today, tomorrow afternoon. But we're just going to continue to watch and wait and prepare. Mike Watkins, Hurricane Analytics, Hurricane. Oh, and you can follow me, Watkins Track, on the Twitter. If you want immediate updates, I tend to post stuff there too. Thanks for watching.